Good morning to everyone. I'm sitting here on vacation in Venice, but I wanted to use this time also to do some recordings. And I want to talk today about the differences between men and women. And I was sitting there and some thoughts was coming to me. And the biggest confusion to me in the world today is the differences between man and woman and the misunderstanding that takes place in relationships because of that differences. And man, when the Lord speak about man, he speak about both male and female man. Because originally, when he created man, he said, let us make man in our image and our likeness. Let us make them both male and female. So he never referred to the female as woman or a difference between the male man and the female man. He said, let us make man, one term, man. Whether it be the female man or the male man is still man. So God referred to both aspects of the man as still being the man. And we need to remember that woman was created in the same body with the man. So at one time, man housed both the male and the female aspect of himself. And the woman is not a separate entity from the man, really, but really she is another side of the man. However, because the man had no help, God decided to take the female out of the man and give her her own body. But he never made her from scratch. He made her from taking a part out of the man, because in order to take she out of the man, he had to take a part out of the man to create her. But the intention was never to bring a division between the man and the woman. It was always for them to be connected through that same part that was taken out, that there will always be a void between the two parties that must be fulfilled only when they come together. And I'm not just talking about sexually, but I'm talking about from a connection, from a spiritual connection as well. Because a man can have sex with many women but still not be satisfied. There is no real satisfaction in his spirit and in his soul. There's still something missing inside of him, something that feels empty, that there's a void in there that needs to be filled, that cannot be filled by every woman. Because every woman may not be his woman, right? So the man was created with two sides of him, the female side and the male side. Now, the female and the male think differently. The way that we perceive and process information is different. And those differences has caused chaos and confusion over the years. And it's a shame. It's a shame because what was meant to be in oneness and connection has now become confused. And the world today is where it is because of the breakdown in the relationship, first, between the man and the woman. And therefore, once you break down the relationship between the man and the woman, the family foundation is interfered with. It is not strong. It cannot stand up to situation, because out of the family comes the community, comes the neighborhood, comes the nation. So basically, if there's a breakdown in the foundation, it starts with the family. And therefore, if we have to fix the foundation, we have to go back to the origin, the family. Now, when you go to a psychologist and you have a problem and you have issues as you're growing up and you take counseling, the first thing the psychologists do is go back to your childhood to see where the seed was planted that started your situation, because sometimes you think you're dealing with symptoms and not with the real root of what created the problem in your life in the first place. So sometimes you go back to the beginning in order to see and trace where that seed was sown. And the breakdown in communities and nation was sown from the very beginning in the relationship between man and woman. So once we can heal the relationship between man and woman, we will heal the foundation and we can now rebuild or restructure in a way that could be stronger. Because as women, it's like, okay, let's say a man thinks from top to bottom in how he processes his thought patterns and how he processes information that comes to him. He thinks from top to bottom. A woman will think from side to side. So therefore, we are both on two opposite planes in terms of how we think, right? But that doesn't mean that because we think differently, there is a crossing. Because if you think up, down, and she thinks side to side, if you look at it, it comes like it forms a T. And at some point in the middle is where both parties actually connect and think alike. So it doesn't mean that because we think so different, we have to really be so different. We got to find that connecting point. And a lot of times we make so much emphasis on where we don't connect that we don't pay the emphasis to where we do connect. A woman has to remember that she man or she husband is not she next female friend. And therefore she can't expect him to be like she female friend or think like she female friend. That's why today now we have a lot of women who feel that they don't need a man because the woman friend understand them better, and a woman can understand another woman easily. It doesn't matter what nation you come from. Once you can find a way to communicate, it is the same issues that women have because we think a particular way. Same thing with a man. A man has to know that his wife is not his next partner because he could talk to his partner and his partner will understand him because they think alike. And therefore, he can't understand why his wife can't understand him or the woman can't understand why the man can't understand her. But what we need to do is not so much to try to change each other to be how we are because we were created to be different. Because if you want real power comes from the differences between us. We're not supposed to be alike like that. What we're supposed to do is harness the power between us because it takes a negative and a positive to create power. Two positive does not create any kind of power. So the differences is supposed to be harnessed and diverted in a positive way to create the power that is needed to propel us forward. But instead, we reject each other's differences and we make it an issue and we make it a reason to complain in relationships and a reason to break down the relationships because we don't know how to process and analyze and bring those two differences together and create now something positive from it. But you have to remember that differences sometimes is what, because you don't want somebody around who will just tell you what you want to hear. Sometimes somebody had to tell you the truth because somebody, if they really care for you, wouldn't just allow you to go along and try to make you happy by just, telling you what you want to hear because you might be heading over a cliff and they wouldn't tell you, hey, you have a cliff ahead of you. They need to make sure, that they tell you the truth. They speak the truth to you in love because the Bible says, speak the truth in love. Now, when you think about this, sometimes we want to speak the truth, but sometimes it's how we speak the truth, right? And a lot of us wasn't taught how to really communicate effectively. So we tend to say what we want to say. We know what we want to say, but we don't say it in the proper way. And we have to remember that a man sometimes needs space. Men need space because they like to hibernate like a bear. They like to go in within themselves when they have an issue because it makes them feel empowered. When they can sit down and analyze their own situation and, come to a conclusion as to what they think. Now, men have a way sometimes that they pull themselves aside and pull themselves away. And women tend to take it as a form of rejection, right? Because sometimes we feel as if they have a problem with me or a problem with us. And it's not necessarily they have a problem with us, but they need their alone time in order for them to be a better, well-balanced man. And sometimes men don't even know why they pull away, but they do. And they don't understand even themselves why, because they never really analyze that part of their life to understand that, right? So they want to hibernate and think about what they want to do. They don't necessarily need you to come and tell them what to do, because we as women, we love to give advice. Really, it is in our nature. We love to give advice and guidance, and sometimes we need to know when to stop giving the advice, when to shut up, and just allow the man to think. Because it's not that he wouldn't come for you for the advice, but sometimes when you want to give it, he's not ready to receive it. He want to think about it for himself. He want to analyze it himself. And then when he feel he have come to a solution, then he might come and say, well, I was thinking about this and this is what I think, whatever. And if he telling you that and he ain't asking for no advice, don't give him none. Just shut up and listen and say, okay. Because sometimes you may try to give him another advice and he will feel as if you're trying to mother him, or you're smothering him, or everything you're always telling him what to do. And he's feeling like if he's not in control of himself, he needs to feel like he's in control. He needs to feel like he's a man. He needs to feel like he's doing what he's supposed to be doing, which is his manly duties. Outside of that, what you're really creating is a son. You understand? Because that come like your son. You're telling him what to do from a mother's perspective. And no man wants to be with a woman who making him his son, really. So sometimes you need to give them the space. Let them hibernate. It doesn't mean that he rejecting you. Sometimes he just need to think, and he need the time and space to do that. Right? As a woman, we like to talk plenty. Oh God. We just talk. Somehow we just talk too much. And we love to give details in everything we do. Oh God, we're going into the detail. Long, watery detail that man don't like to hear. But we have to compromise, because we have to understand each other needs and what we need from each other. So a man needs his space. You have to know when to shut up and give him his space. A woman needs to talk, and a man needs to know when he had to listen a little bit and not say anything. Because the thing about it sometimes with men is that they feel inadequate. When a woman is talking, he feels she's complaining. And he feels that she's having a problem with him. And she probably feels that he's not doing enough, or he's not doing what he's supposed to do. When in truth and in fact, that is not the case. Sometimes a woman just wants to vent. She's not looking for no advice. She don't want you to tell she what to do either. She just wants you to listen. And just, like, make like comments and tell her, well, okay, all right, honey, but don't try to criticize. And sometimes men will try to tell you, well, okay, they know why that's happening because they ain't doing this. And that now will peeve her off. And she will feel like, you're attacking her, which could cause confusion too. So sometimes she just need you to listen and tell her, okay, sweetheart, all right, And when she done say what she had to say, because she coming up with her own answers, but she wants to just vent what she wants to say. And that happened with me sometime recently, and I realized it to be true because I was venting with a friend of mine. And as a man, he wanted to give me advice as to what I should do and what I shouldn't do. But really and truly, I didn't want no advice what to do and what I shouldn't do, because I already knew what I should do and what I shouldn't do, but I was upset. And therefore, I just wanted to blow steam. Not on him particularly. I didn't come to him for him to find a solution. I just wanted to blow off some steam. And because I already knew what I was going to do. And when he started to give me the advice, I started to get irritated by the advice he was giving me, because it was contrary to what I was going to do. And I was like, and then I had to stop him and I said, no, I just want to vent, And I said that because I realized where that was going. But I know a lot of women don't understand either their own self. And therefore they don't understand. So sometimes these little things cause friction. So sometimes the woman just wants you to listen attentively and pay, like, and not sit down there and not say nothing. But you say like things, but encouraging words. Not words of to tell her what to do, but to encourage her and tell her, okay, honey, I understand. Like things like that, like comments. All right, okay. And when she done, you might say, okay, how you feel now? You feel better? And she will tell, because she will move from one topic to the next topic, because really and truly, it's not so much the topic, just want to talk. And she wants somebody to listen. But men tend to lock women off when they're ready to speak. So you have to understand that we operate differently. But that doesn't mean to say that we can't use the differences positively. We just need to understand what each other need when we need it. And not take everything so personal. The thing about it is that when you take things personal, then you start to manipulate situations. And it can cause a lot of breakdown and chaos in the relationship, because whatever your intent in a relationship is, it's supposed to always be with good intention towards the other partner. We mustn't manipulate people into getting them to do what we want to do. You see, that is the toxicity that we grew up with. A lot of toxicity, because if you're not comfortable with something, I'm not supposed to try to force you to do it by making you uncomfortable or trying to manipulate you or blackmail you into doing something that I want you to do. This is something that you must be freely reach a place that you want to do, and I must respect that. That respect for each other needs to come back into place. So take out the toxicity, the manipulation, and the mind games, and get to the place where you go past all of that, because God didn't create man and woman to be separated and to have all these issues that we have in today. The world in chaos because man and woman can't balance themselves, and they can't seem to find the place to connect with each other because of too much toxicity, too much influence that is putting people in a place where we feel we had to fight each other. And we teach our children the same thing. So it's a cycle that continues from one generation to the next. And scientifically, it has been proven that we process things differently. We both process things differently. And communication is very important. A lot of times people don't like to express themselves. They don't like to express themselves to their partners neither, because they fear judgment. They fear that they will be judged by the partner negatively, or the partner wouldn't understand. But we have to keep an open mind to understand that we are different yet the same. And we have to try to find the middle ground where we could connect with each other, speak to each other on anything, and not internalize everything that is said. So, as if if I come to tell you something that is offensive to me, you take it personally. No. We need to spend more time trying to really understand each other and communicating with each other. Communication is vital to survival, because most of the times we lock up. When things start to go negative, we lock up on each other and we don't speak to each other again. Normally, when two people meet, they share a lot of information with each other. So they come to a place where they're on the same page. They understand each other because they share a lot of things. But as they start to live together, or they start to have a relationship, the communication becomes less and less. They stop sharing things. And if you stop sharing things with your partner, what you would find happen is that after a while, your partner is in one place and you're in another place. You no longer have that connection, because now you don't know the person anymore, because people change as time goes by. Who I am today is not who I was 10 years ago. And who I will be tomorrow is not who I am going to be today. Because as we experience life, as we experience situations in life, everything we experience has an impact on our personality. It has an impact on our psyche, our mental. You can't unlearn something. Once you know something, you can't unknow it. Unless you have Alzheimer's, of course. But you can't unknow it. And everything that you receive, everything that you absorb, it changes you little by little. Gradually, you're changing. And if you don't communicate effectively with your partner, what will happen is that after a while, you see people live together for 10, 15 years, and then they come to a place where they don't know who the husband is, they don't know who the wife is. They don't know each other. They're living in the same house, but they don't know each other because they stop communicating. So, okay, I'm experiencing something on my job, but it's affecting me in a negative way. That thing is changing me, That thing is causing me to change gradually. Now I have a husband and I go home and I don't, he not allowing me to communicate with him or to share with him, what I happened for me for the day. Not because I want to know, not because he want to know my business or whatever the case may be, but because in order for him to understand who I am and how my life is changing, because he's not the only person impacting my life. The people I meet during the course of the day is impacting my life as well. The things that I experience is impacting my life. And in order for him and I to be on the same page continuously, I need to share with him what happened in my life for the day. So this is what I went through. Now, I'm not expecting him to solve the problem, but I'm just giving him information. So should he see a little shift in my behavior, he understand, this is what that must be happening because she went through so, and she trying to work on that. So he's growing with me, he's understanding me while I am going through my changes. And when he goes through whatever he goes through, he needs to give me information too. Not because he wants me to solve the problem, but if I see a little shift in his behavior, I would understand that this is what he experiencing on work, and this thing that he experiences is causing a little shift in his behavior, and I will understand that, so we still continue to be on the same page. But if he's shifting and his behavior is changing gradually and my own is changing gradually and there's no communication between us as to what is taking place outside of us, meaning that when we are not together, what is happening? What is happening when we are not in the same vicinity? Because when we're home, we could see what's happening. But when we are apart, we can't see what's happening. Then you would find now that I wouldn't know him after a while because more and more things are happening, more and more he's changing, more and more I am changing, and eventually we like two strangers in the same house. So communication, whether we want to talk or we don't want to talk, is very, very relevant to the success of a good relationship going forward. And we need to find a way how to approach and speak to each other in a way that is respectful, but yet still effective. And to accept each other's differences and not try to make each other into my girlfriend or your man friend. Understand that we think differently. We see things from two different perspectives. Understand what I need, and I must understand what you need. I must understand that everybody needs a space, especially personal space. And that, to me, is so relevant because some people smother you so much that they don't give you a space to breathe. Like if you breathe out a breath of air, they want to suck in the air that you just breathe out. They're not giving you that space to be yourself at all. They're invading your privacy. And everybody needs a space to be themselves. I don't care how long you're married, how much you love each other, everybody needs breathing space. That claustrophobic kind of behavior, up in your face, up in your face, up in your face, everything you're doing, they want to see, they want to know what's going on, the monitoring you, the 24/0, they're checking your Facebook page, they're checking your phone, they're cloning your phone, they're tracking you down. Oh, jeez, Father. Oh God, I can't deal with it. That kind of obsessive, kind of sick, psychotic behavior. It's too much. It's too much. I can't deal with it. I can't deal with that at all. According to me, I'll beat everything out of my space. If I had to beat it out of my space, because I can't deal with that. And I know there are many people who tell themselves, I want a jealous person. But when you get it, you don't want it because you realize that is sick. It is a sick thing. Everybody needs a personal space. It's not that you have anything to hide, but you need space to breathe. And people who sticking up underneath you like that and who not giving you that space to breathe, they're mentally unbalanced, They're unhealthy, mentally, They're mentally sick, in the brain, And these are people who could kill you, excuse me, on the spur of the moment. These are people who, when you're living with them, you have to keep one eye closed and one eye open because they're psychotic in the brain. You don't know what they just be thinking sometimes and what is be really motivating them. Nobody wants to be in that kind of environment. So we need to make sure and remember that we need to give each other what we need, and we can still be together and be in a relationship and balance out each other without having to be so poisonous to each other. So I don't want to keep the message too long. I don't know how much it is. I will have to check and see what time it is. Okay, so it's time for me to stop here. It's already 25 minutes. I will close it at 26. So thank you very much. I love you. Have a blessed day.